Operation Olive Branch, Brett McGurk says the Afrin situation developed as the United States was leaving, and they are now urging restraint and de-escalation. He says the U.S. is prepared to work with Turkey on legitimate security concerns, but prolonging the operation risks giving new life to Daesh as it's on the verge of defeat. TRT World Defense Analyst Oubai Shahbandar joins us now in the studio for more. So can Daesh somehow benefit from Operation Olive Branch? Is there any truth to that?
Well, it was interesting hearing the statement from the U.S. presidential envoy to the anti-Daesh coalition, Brett McGurk. Now, let's remember, this is the same U.S. official that essentially helped form the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is, of course, the U.S. cover name for the YPG forces, during that infamous handshake between Brett McGurk and the PKK field commander, Polajan, in Kobani about a year and a half ago. So let's unpack this statement. The claim here is that if Operation Olive Branch continues and the fight against the YPG terror continues, that it will somehow allow Daesh to re-emerge at a time when Daesh is being defeated militarily in both Syria and Iraq. Well, that claim is not true, and let me tell you why. Look, I've been in the field in Syria, I've been in the field in Iraq, and we have to look at the conditions that allowed ISIS, Daesh, to emerge in the first place. Daesh was able to emerge because of the chaos that the Assad regime allowed to ensue in Syria, because of the Assad regime atrocities, and because of the fact that it was while the Free Syrian Army was the first group on the ground to fight Daesh 2 years ago, before there was a U.S. coalition against Daesh, before the Russians entered the scene, it was the Free Syrian Army surrounded by the YPG on one front, the Assad regime on the other front, and Daesh. And it was because the YPG and the Assad regime were fighting these forces on the ground, represented by the Free Syrian Army, who were the first line of defense against Daesh, that allowed Daesh to expand significantly across northern and eastern Syria. So we have to look at that historical context. So there's certainly, we take some issues with this claim that somehow the continued operation against YPG would somehow benefit Daesh. On the other side, stopping the conditions that allowed Daesh to reemerge in the first place is how you're able to sustain gains against Daesh in the long term, and that means continuing to battle YPG terrorists.
So can the Free Syrian Army do that? I mean, how important are their forces to actually secure those gains against the YPG and Daesh?
Well, the Free Syrian Army is a crucial component of this operation. If you look at the map, they're entering Afrin alongside Turkish special forces, along 7 different points of entry where they're liberating villages, and they're sending messages to the local populace in Afrin, not only in Arabic, but also in Kurdish, where the Free Syrian Army is working with local tribal leaders and local community leaders in the villages that they're entering and liberating, telling them in both Arabic and Kurdish that they're here to protect them from YPG foreign terrorists and from Daesh foreign fighters. Now, it was also the Free Syrian Army that was fighting an Assad regime that allowed Daesh's predecessor, Al-Qaeda in Iraq, nearly a decade ago to enter Iraq and to expand in Syria. It eventually became Daesh. So it's interesting to see this relationship between the YPG and the Assad regime that laid the seeds for Daesh to emerge in the first place. So the Free Syrian Army is a crucial component in this ongoing fight against both the YPG and Daesh.
Okay, Oubai, we'll leave it there. Thanks for that.